Alright, this is still Chapter Test B for Chapter 3. So I left off with number 14, so we are now on number 15. So number 15 is solving proportions. So to do this problem, 4 over 5 equals 12 over y. You're going to cross multiply. 4 times y, which is 4y, equals 5 times 12, which is 60. Then divide both sides by 4. So y equals 15. You can check this by plugging it back into this proportion. Number 16, 1.1 over 1.2 equals w over 3.6. So begin by cross multiplying. So 1.1 times 3.6 gives me 3.96. 1.2 times w is 1.2w. Then divide by 1.2. That gives me 3.3 equals w. Okay. Number 17, 16 over 9 equals negative 4t over 27. So 16 times 27 is 432. 9 times negative 4t is negative 36t. Divide by negative 36. So when I divide by negative 36, I get negative 12 equals t. Be very careful of those negatives. Number 18. 8 over m plus 3 equals 4 over m. Now remember, I always tell you all to put anything with a plus or minus in parentheses. That's a married couple. So when I multiply 8 times m, but then over here when I multiply, I have to do 4 times the sum, m plus 3, which means I'm going to have to distribute. So 4m, 4 times 3 is 12. Now I have to subtract 4m to the other side, get my variables together. So 4m equals 12, divide by 4. M equals 3. Okay, that's number 18. All right, next one is number 19. This is still proportions. So 6 over x plus 4 equals 12 times 5x minus 13. Now you notice I'm putting those in parentheses. I always put sums and differences in parentheses. So I'm going to cross multiply. 6 times 5x minus 13 equals 12 times x plus 4. Distribute 30x minus 78 equals 12x plus 48. So now when I solve, I'm going to subtract the 12x to the 30. Different sides, you change your signs. That gives me 18x minus 78 equals 48. Then I'm going to add 78 to both sides. So 18x equals 126, and then divide by 18, giving me x equals 7. So that's number 19. Number 20. Same deal. 5 over 3z minus 4 equals negative 3 over 1 minus 2z. Now you'll notice I'm putting parentheses around those problems. I don't know if you guys could see that whole problem last time. Well, there's the rest of the problem in case you couldn't see it. We're going to cross multiply. So 5 times 1 minus 2z equals negative 3 times 3z minus 4. Oops, let's zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to distribute 5 minus 10z equals negative 9z plus 12. Be very careful of negative times a negative. This time I'm going to add 10z over. I don't really like negatives, and I know by adding the 10z over, I'm going to get a positive 1z. Whoops, that's a plus. And then subtract 12 from both sides. So negative 7 equals z. If I wanted to, I could plug it back in to check. So that's number 20. Our next one is a word problem. So let me pop that one up here so you can see it. Number 21 says, on Monday, biologists tagged 150 sunfish from a lake. On Friday, the biologists counted 12 tagged fish out of a sample of 400 sunfish from the same lake. Estimate the total number of sunfish in the lake. All right, this is a proportion. So the biologist tagged 150 sunfish. So I'm going to put my tagged on top. He counted 12 tagged fish. So 12 fish. We have fish and fish. That's tagged, tagged and tagged. Out of a sample of 400 sunfish. Now, we don't know how many fish in the lake, probably more than 400. So 12 were out of the 400 in the sample. So I don't know how many total fish are in the lake. That's what I'm trying to find. I'm trying to estimate the total number of fish in the lake. So he tagged 150. When he pulled out 400, he found 12 of them were only 12 were tagged. So now we can cross multiply 150 times 400, which is 60,000. That's going to equal 12x. So then we divide by 12. So there are approximately 5,000 fish, and actually this is sunfish, not just fish, but sunfish in the lake. Okay, so that's a proportion. Now there's other ways you could have set that up. That's just one possible way, as long as your units match. So on top I put tagged, and this on bottom is my total. Okay. All right, number 22. Another good old word problem. A recipe for oatmeal raisin cookies calls for 1 2/3 cups of flour to make 4 dozen cookies. It already sounds like a proportion problem. So 1 2/3 cups gives us 4 dozen cookies. It says how many cups of flour are needed to make 6 dozen cookies? So 6 dozen cookies go on the bottom here. And I want to know how many cups of cookies. Cups of flour, not cookies, silly. So I start by doing 6 times 1 2/3. Now remember, you can either do this in the calculator using the mixed number button, or you can change it to an improper fraction. So 1 2/3 times 6 is 10, and then 4x. Divide by 4. So that gives us 2 1/2 cups, so either 2.5, or we could say 2 1/2 cups of flour is what we need. That's what x equals. So 2 1/2 cups, 2 1/2 cups of flour would work. All right, moving right along. Now we're at percentages. So number 23. Remember, we set up percentages using a proportion. So 3 is. All right, so this is 23. We have our setup proportion. If you remember, it's is over of equals percent over 100. Excuse me. So 3 is. 3 goes on top. 1.5%. It's got a percent sign, so 1.5 out of 100. Of what number? Well, I have no idea. So we're going to cross multiply. 300 equals 1.5x. Divide by 1.5. So 300 divided by 1.5 is 200. 200 is the number we're looking for. Number 24. 9 is what percent of 6? So we've got our proportion. 9 is goes on top. What percent? Well, I don't know the percent. That's over the 100 of 6. Now we cross multiply. 900 equals 6x. Divide by 6. So 900 divided by 6 is 150. Because it says percent, I cannot forget my percent sign. 150%, which makes sense because 9 is bigger than 6 and 6 is 100%. All right, now we're going to look at number 25. This is 25. What is, okay, is goes on top, so x, 26.5%, so 26.5 goes over 100, of 46. Cross multiply. 100x, 46 times 26.5 is 1219, divide by 100. So x is 12.19. It's not a percent, so I'm done. All right, 26. 70 is 200%. All right, 200 goes over 100 of what number? Now, immediately I can expect that x is going to be smaller than 70 because it's 200%. So I'm cross multiplying and then I divide. So that's going to give me 35 equals x, which is smaller than 70, just like I expected. All right, now we have another word problem, number 27. In a renovation project, a football stadium increased its 60,000 seat capacity by 15%. All right, we got a percent problem here. So, increased its 60,000 seat capacity. So, the 100 before, it was 60,000. That was our total. That's out of 100. That's our whole. We've increased it by 15%. So, 100% used to be 60,000. We're increasing our 100% by 15. So now this is going to be 115% because it said it increased by 15%. How many seats will be available when the project is completed? So we're going to cross multiply 100x. Now 60,000 times 115 is a very big number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. And then we're going to divide by 100. So x equals 69,000 seats. Don't forget your seats. That's how many total when the project is completed. All right. Number 28. We're going to solve for y. So 5x minus y equals 7. So to solve this for y, we're going to start by subtracting 5x, solving for y. So negative y equals negative 5x plus 7. We don't like negative y, we want a positive y. So divide every single term by negative 1, giving us positive 5x minus 7. Okay, be careful of sign errors. Number 29. 10x plus 3y plus 2 equals 9x plus 8. We are solving this for this y. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract the 10x. And notice I'm putting it under the x because they're like terms. So 3y plus 2 equals negative 1x plus 8. I need to get rid of the 2. So once again, taking care of addition and subtraction first. I put it under the 8 because those are both constants. Okay, let's try making that an x. Plus 6. Now I can finally divide all my terms by 3. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. Be very careful of where your x is placed. It should be out to the side or up on top.